age 35 or over, you might see that you start to notice the tail of your eyebrow getting lower and lower. If you follow the natural curve of your eyebrow.
Morning everyone, good morning. Tuesday, 3.5 degrees here in Clonakilty. It's damn cold, but it's dry. So, beginning my week, loads of you reached out yesterday to know how Marissa Carter influenced me and in my business. And Marissa doesn't know this, obviously. But if you are a woman in business, I'd highly recommend that you listen to the Good Glow by Georgie Crawford, who was interviewing Marissa. Now, I know Sheila Shoiga had interviewed her back in November as well. And there's a lot going on in Marissa's business life. She's having some tough time with her investors. But way back when I started out first, must be 12 years ago, I went to a networking event in the Montanati in Cork, and Marissa was the main speaker, and she was very, very young in her business at the time. And it's amazing how there is somebody that you would admire in business and think, oh my God, I'd love to be as successful as her. And Marissa was only in her late 20s at the time. So she told us a story about the cocoa brown tan, how it developed, why she did it, how it went to all the penny stores in Ireland, how it eventually went to Superdrug in the UK. Now it's in all of the Walmarts in the States, and Kim Kardashian used it, or Kylie, anyway, one of them, and put it up on their social media, and it was like a light bulb moment for Marissa. But in the early days, she had spoken about the difficulties of being in business, and particularly a woman in business. But she also didn't have the smarts, because she ended up with a massive tax bill, and she thought she was going to go to jail. She was pregnant at the time, and she thought that she was going to have her baby in jail. And I chatted to her. I remember I was limping actually at the same time. I had twisted my ankle at a clinic in Skibbereen that day, and I remember coming back home, and my mom was at the house at the time, and I said, God, I really want to go to this networking event that Marissa was so inspiring. And I remember my mom, who was a nurse as well, she was my ward sister, strapped up my ankle so that I could drive the car and get to the Montanati to listen to her speak about, the pitfalls of starting your own business. And I chatted to her because after the event, because her story was just so amazing, and I felt that she gave me the continued drive to continue to build my business, and not in a small way. I wanted to suck her juice, so to speak. And her advice on each occasion, because she actually did an International Women's Day in Rosscarbery the following year, which I went to as well, and I had a quick word with her on that day. And her advice on each occasion was to network, something I hate doing, and I have no problem talking, but walking into a room full of people that I don't know and striking up a conversation, I found that difficult, but I did it because it's what she had advised. And on a couple of the networking events that I went to, I was actually chosen to give the 1 minute pitch. So she was absolutely right. I mean, it actually put me out there in the arena, particularly here in West Cork. There was another International Women's Day in Inchydoney the following year, and I was chosen to give the 1 minute pitch. And I wasn't ready, and I remember thinking I'd hardly be chosen, but why not me? And I was chosen, and I gave my 1 minute pitch. Her second bit of advice was to hang around people who've already done what I want to do, and I found that very difficult, because there wasn't anybody here in West Cork who was doing what I wanted to do, and to grow my business and to grow. And it transpired, of course, that I was the first nurse in Ireland to be able to do this, and to be able to be covered by the oncology doctors in the cancer wards. So I wasn't able to do that. I found it very difficult. She also mentioned that I asked for help. I found that very difficult also. I was trying to navigate growing my business as well as learning how to make it digital. I didn't know how to use a computer. All I knew is that I was good at what I did. The business side of things was very, very difficult. As in, I had to learn a whole new set of things in my late 40s, early 50s. And she advised me to get out from behind my website and to meet people. Because people purchase from people because they either like their vibe or they can see that they're somebody that can be trusted. And that is something that, as Irish people in particular, like, we find it difficult to tell people how great we are, and we rely on other people to do it for us. So that was something that I did find difficult. Now, I used to message her on private messages on Instagram, and she used to always reply. And if ever anybody was my hero in relation to a woman in business, she was her. It was her, really. And she used to say to me, Olive, do things that make you uncomfortable. Do something you've never done before. Get out and do the networking. Yes, it is uncomfortable, but everybody else in the room is feeling the same way. And she recommended that I do something that makes me feel uncomfortable every week. So I signed up for the networking. I absolutely hated it, but I did it. And I don't do it at the moment because our business is just so busy here in Clonakilty in West Cork. But there's always a time for networking, and I find even if I go into a room or if I go to a party or whatever, now COVID put paid to an awful lot of that in the last 3 years, but starting up conversations, they usually ask you to know, what do you do? So I always had my 1 minute pitch ready so that it could just be pulled out from the back of my brain so that I could tell people what I did without just saying, oh, I'm just a nurse or I'm just a midwife. So now I say I change people's lives. And in COVID, I have to say the Local Enterprise Board put on a huge amount of online teachings in relation to spreadsheets for my finances and bookkeeping. I learned loads on that. I learned loads from a social media point of view. And I had to get out from behind our brand, get out from behind the website, which was, it was forced, you see. If COVID hadn't come, to be honest, I don't think I would have bothered doing the whole daily coffee talk or getting out from behind my brand. And I felt like a newborn lamb, and I have to say I didn't like the sound of my own voice. I don't think anybody does. And I quickly got to learn that I gained traction because people used to look forward to the topic of the day. Even if they weren't interested in it, they used to tune in anyway. And when COVID, lifted its barriers, and when I reopened after the COVID bans were lifted, my books were full of new clients because they had actually got to learn whether I was somebody that they could like or trust. And anybody that I met on those courses, they all used to say that your clients can become friends. And I've discovered that actually. But your friends rarely become clients, which really in a way is quite odd because my friends were brilliant in supporting me in doing what I did. Anyway, it also said to hang around with people who are where I want to be. Now, I actually found that kind of difficult because I was the first nurse microblader in Ireland at the time. So I had to change my whole focus on who I would like to emulate. And it was actually Marissa Carter. Now, obviously, I'm nothing as big as Marissa Carter, but she's a total catalyst in the changes in relation to my business. Anyway, I realised very quickly that I was actually doing this alone, and what would I do? So I got from behind the website, and I, ploughed on and kept my clinics going. And in the end, between the whole COVID lockdowns, I was working a 7-day week in order to catch up with the people who were inconvenienced by each lockdown. Some of them were only 6 weeks and some of them were 3-4 months. And I remember one negative comment from all the clients that I had through me. And whose shoulder did I go to cry on? And it was Marissa Carter's. And she left me a gorgeous voice note. And she had said, Olive, you're going to meet people who are angry in their lives. And you're going to meet people who are will lash out at the first person that comes their way. And it's actually got nothing to do with you. It's actually all got to do with them and where they are in their lives at the time. And the comment actually was from somebody who was very, very angry woman, as it happened, who had recently had a cancer diagnosis and sought me out to capture her eyebrows before she started her chemotherapy. And she was defensive and cross with everybody, and she took her crossness out on me. And when it came to settling her fee, even though Leia Healthcare were settling a good bit of her debt at the time, or that my fee, she actually said, my God, she said, to think that there's a market for the likes of me in my vulnerability, and that you can actually build a business out of cancer. Now, that woman may as well have stabbed me on that particular day, or she may as well have reached out her hand and slapped my face. It really hurt, and it really, I wanted to give up. And I had 8 clinics around Munster at this point, and I had 1 in Kerry, and all the clients were waiting for me to come around once every 4 weeks or once every 6 weeks, which I used to do. I literally was in the car. My clinic was a mobile clinic, being a guest brow artist at each of the clinics. And all of those clients were happy to see me. So she was just one person. And Marissa Carter said that to me that day. She said, Olive, one person. And are you going to give up over the opinion of one person who's angry with life, who's angry with cancer, and she aimed her anger and her aggression towards you? It's got nothing to do with you. In fact, the service that you gave her on that particular day made going through her cancer treatment far more tolerable. Anyway, it would have been so easy to just pack it in and to say that I tried, but I decided to get uncomfortable and just to plough on. And I even got even more uncomfortable, and I set up a meeting with Leia Healthcare to know would they cover more of the treatments and to give more of a benefit towards it. All things that make me very uncomfortable because you kind of feel a bit of an imposter, and you're totally forgetting the service that we're actually offering to our clients, to our cancer chemotherapy clients and alopecia clients in particular. That amazing service to somebody who's having a hard time. So they were the baby steps in the early stages of my business. And in the end, she actually suggested to me that I go for the Go for Growth Women program that is run by KPMG in Dublin. And that's where you not only just plod along with your business and grow it slowly, it's where you actually catapult it. She advised me to apply for that. Now, as it happened, I got turned down that particular year, and I never actually went for it again. There was COVID happened in the meantime, and it entailed going to Dublin once every 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever for meetings. And my clinic was so busy here at the time that I kind of thought, well, why do I need to be busier than I am? But it grows in a different way. As it happened, actually, some other microblading artists got in that particular year, and they referred me back to the Leo. So I was kind of deflated that I wasn't accepted, but Marissa kept on saying, it's too easy to give up. And you know, she was right. It is far too easy to give up and just say, should you know what, I tried. But meanwhile, I completely taken my eye off the ball here in Clonakilty, in the sense that I was actually working a 7-day week, and I needed help to be able to streamline and to be able to grow my business in a different way, which is what I did when I put out the appeal for nurses to become affiliates of Browtique and to help me to get a better life so that I could have a life and be able to service the clients that needed our help. And Aisling, Debbie and Lorraine came into my life. So anyway, Marissa then disappeared off social media for some time, and I kept on remembering what she had said. And and here she popped up in the podcast on Sunday morning, and I loved it. My gorgeous mommy had passed away at this point, and I remember talking to her photograph one day, and asking her to guide me on my path, and she did. So, okay, I didn't get the Go for Growth program, but she sent me something far better, and they're the angels that are my nurses who work as affiliates for Browteak Ireland. And that's Aisling, Debbie and Lorraine. And they now serve Browteak Ireland clients in all parts of the country, because I had become rather tired of the travelling as well. So the clinic here was gone crazy busy. So it mushroomed organically by itself. And so I had the help, I had a life, and Marissa Carter was right. Just keep moving. And the good glow came up, and I kind of thought, oh my God, Marissa is back. And she explained why she wasn't, she went offline for quite some time because her investors were giving her a hard time. And she needed to be able to mind her own mental health. And that is one of the things that I have to say. I remember when I was working a 7-day week, my husband actually said to me at one point, Olive, you can't keep that pace up. And why did you want to go for growth anyway? Why, like how much more do you, businesses do you know, what else do you want to do? Anyway, so if you're thinking of starting a business, I'd recommend that you have a good listen to Marissa, either in the Georgie Crawford podcast that I shared with you there, or with the Sheila Shoiga Ready to Be Real one. As for me, I'm totally fine. I feel my age a lot of the time, but there's fire in my belly. And Browteak Ireland is getting stronger every single day. And I have an amazing team of nurses around me. I have Sherna next door, who encouraged me to do the injectables of Bellatera Revive and Volume, to be able to assist her clients, that they wouldn't have to make the journey to Cork to have the injectables done. So yeah, Browteak Ireland is getting stronger every single day. So there you are.